Hi everybody, my name is Lauren and I'm an ultrasound technician for Palm Imaging Institute and Empire Orthopedic Center. I'd like to welcome you to our first online training program. We hope that these programs bring you a lot more flexibility in your training and allow you to complete your training with more ease. This is the first training module in a series of training modules that you will complete annually. The first module we'll be going over is titled Code of Ethics and Conduct, and there are several documents that you're going to need to complete this training module. The first document that you'll need is called Code of Ethics and Conduct. It's a packet that's several pages long, and it's for you to take home and keep for your own records. You're also going to need an acknowledgement form. It looks like this, and this is the form that you use to acknowledge that you received that packet and that you'll be taking it home for your records. Additionally, you are going to need a certificate of training that looks like this. You will be signing this, and your department supervisor will be signing this at the end of this training module to certify that you have completed this Code of Ethics and Conduct training. And lastly, we want to make sure that all of the employees are participating in these videos in their totality. That means that you're watching the video from beginning to end. So we've created some short activities that you're going to be filling out as the video progresses. And the answers to these activities will be inside of the video. So for this module, the activity is a crossword puzzle. It looks like this, and it's titled Code of Ethics and Conduct. So we'll be filling this out together, and by the end of the video, this should be completed. And that will assure your participation in these videos. So I'd like to let you know that the program I'm using is called Zoom. It's an online conference room, and it records live. There's no editing or ability to change anything in the video, so bear with me through the hiccups as we walk through these training modules together. The first thing we're going to do is start out with an introductory video. This module, Code of Ethics and Conduct, is largely about what is Palm Imaging and Empire Orthopedic Center stand for. What's their ethics? What kind of morals do they believe in? How do they want you to conduct yourself at work? And I think that a great video to kind of showcase how healthcare providers should work in their profession was created by Brené Brown, who's a renowned author and psychologist. And she talks about how people in specific professions can really use empathy to portray a better professional self. So we're going to watch that video to launch ourselves into this Code of Ethics and Conduct training. So I'm going to be sharing my screen, and in just one moment, you should be able to see what I can see. There we go. So you should see a video on the screen, and we're going to watch this video together.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, climb down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, woo, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that video, and you can see that empathy is really relevant in the healthcare profession. We need to remember that a lot of times to our centers and they're experiencing something very painful in their lives. And so we need to be aware of that and be empathetic, and it will profoundly affect our ability to be successful in our professions at Palm Imaging Institute and Empire Orthopedic Center. So now we're going to walk through a PowerPoint together and highlight some of the main points of what you're going to find in the packet, Code of Ethics and Conduct, when you read it at home. So I'm going to share my screen with you again, and we're going to go through this PowerPoint together. So our mission statement is that we are committed to the care and improvement of human life. We provide high-quality healthcare to the communities that we serve. We care for our patients with kindness, compassion, and fairness. We affirm the unique and intrinsic worth of each individual. We pledge to treat one another with loyalty, respect, and dignity. So what's our mission? To care about improving human life by offering compassion, fairness, loyalty, respect, and dignity. Conduct. This code of conduct provides guidance to all employees and assists us in carrying out our daily activities with appropriate ethical and legal standards. So what's conduct? Conduct is to carry out daily activities with appropriate ethical and legal standards. Leadership. This training module, Code of Ethics and Conduct, talks quite a bit about leadership. So here's the main point. We expect our leaders to set the example. Supervisors need to create an environment where all team members are encouraged to raise concerns. Leaders must confront problems directly and candidly. Include your staff in decision-making. Give them the maximum responsibility and ensure that all the talents of each team member are utilized to their maximum extent possible. Good leadership creates an environment where all team members are encouraged to raise concerns. Quality of care. We treat all patients with warmth, respect, and dignity. Patient safety should be paramount. We aspire to a standard of excellence for all caregivers within the facility. So let's think about warmth for a minute. What does that mean? Warmth is a word that describes the way that we treat our patients that makes them feel at home. I don't know about you, but when I'm at home with a blanket, my fireplace turned on, and a hot cup of coffee, maybe watching a movie or reading a book, I feel a particular sense of warmth. And that's kind of what we want to think about when we're deciding how to create the environment for our patients at Palm Imaging and Empire Orthopedic Center. Patient rights. We make no distinction in the availability of services based on age, gender, disability, race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Patients also have the right to refuse care. If you have a patient that doesn't want to have care that day, whatever it may be that they're receiving, stop immediately and allow them to leave. Treating a patient with the same respect, regardless of their diversity, preserves their rights. Referrals. We receive referrals from various outside physicians and medical offices. We do not receive payment for referrals, and we do not accept payment for referrals that we make. We do not pay for or accept payment for referrals. Confidential information. We're going to be learning a lot more about confidential information in the upcoming training titled HIPAA. But for now, we'll give you some bullet points on how confidential information works. The disclosure of confidential information could violate ethical and legal obligations. Confidential information, also called sensitive information, covers virtually anything that is not publicly known. These could include personnel data, patient lists, patient identifiable information, patient financial information, credit card data, social security numbers, passwords, etc. Do not release any information about patients or coworkers. Electronic media. Business electronic devices and services must be used for business purposes only. Assume no expectation of privacy in anything created, stored, or sent on a business electronic device or service. Encrypt patient data sent over electronic media. Do not send malicious or obscene materials via electronics. You are not permitted to share or disclose any user accounts. Controlled substances. Some employees have access to prescription drugs and controlled substances. These substances must not be solicited inappropriately, and any violations must be reported. We maintain an alcohol and drug-free work environment. Cultural diversity. We have 3 locations amongst Palm Imaging and Empire Orthopedic Center: San Bernardino, Rialto, and Colton. If you think about those locations and the surrounding communities, and even just California in general, one of the words that should pop in your head first is cultural diversity. Here at Palm Imaging and Empire Orthopedic Center, we maintain a setting in which we celebrate cultural diversity and differences. We do not discriminate in regard to race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, genetic information, or veteran status. Diversity is another word for cultural differences. We celebrate this at Palm Imaging and Empire Orthopedic Center. Environmental compliance. We need to adhere to the requirements for the proper handling of hazardous materials. We want to properly dispose of medical waste and use the proper bins. Consult with your department supervisor to find out where the nearest medical waste basket is located. Dispose of medical waste bins in appropriate areas, and always use your sharps containers. If you're unaware of where a medical waste bin is, make sure that you find your supervisor today and ask them so that you can be using the appropriate bins when dealing with hazardous materials. Reporting concerns. We encourage the reporting and resolution of issues. Each employee has an individual responsibility for reporting any activity by any colleague, physician, subcontractor, or vendor that appears to violate an applicable law, rule, regulation, accreditation, standard of medical practice, federal healthcare condition, or code. There is no retribution or discipline for anyone who reports a concern in good faith. The training video that you watched in the beginning of this training module was done by Brene Brown, and there's a link if you ever want to look it up and watch it again. So that completes our first training module. Congratulations on completing Code of Ethics and Conduct, and I look forward to seeing you in the next training module.